I still remember the first time I saw her. The kind of memory that burns itself into your mind like the final frame of a movie. She had this presence, commanding without trying, and my heart betrayed me before my head could catch up. I just wanted to talk to her, to know her beyond the superficial, maybe even share something real. I approached with what little courage I had. Words lined up like soldiers on the tip of my tongue. But then, like a sudden storm cutting through a clear sky, she shut me down. Her voice was sharp, dismissive, slicing deeper than she realized. "Don't talk to me." Those 4 words weren't just rejection. They buried themselves in me, stitching humiliation to my skin. I walked away that day pretending to be fine, but inside, a seed of resentment was planted. And seeds, they grow. For a while I avoided her, too hurt to risk another wound. But life has its cruel sense of humor. We still crossed paths, still ended up in the same circles. And that's when I noticed it. The woman who once cut me off so sharply didn't stay away. She began appearing in places I never expected to see her, lingering whenever I was around. She'd toss out a forced hello, maybe a polite question here and there. It confused me. Why was she suddenly interested? Her eyes weren't warm, her voice not genuine. It felt like shadow and substance colliding, a contradiction begging to be solved. Rejection had been clear, yet here she was, orbiting me again, for reasons unclear. It happened months later. My phone buzzed, lighting up with a name I hadn't expected to see again. Her message was short, but its weight landed like a stone in my chest. She wanted to talk. No, she wanted something more specific. Money. I read the words twice, 3 times, not sure if I had misunderstood. Money? From me? The same person who had once dismissed me as though even breathing the same air was too much? Irony has a cruel way of laughing in your face. I could almost hear it, her voice from the past ringing in my head. "Don't talk to me." And now here she was, desperate enough to break her own words. I should have felt triumphant, but instead I felt torn. Anger burned hot in me, yet temptation to help flickered like embers. The hypocrisy was undeniable. Something felt wrong, so I didn't rush. Instead, I probed carefully. Through mutual friends, whispers started to emerge. She wasn't suffering from any real disaster. There was no tragedy, no emergency. What consumed her was her own recklessness. Overspending. Designer labels she couldn't afford. Vacations flaunted on social media, financed on credit. Nights out stacked on debts that would eventually choke her. Her plea wasn't for survival. It was for relief from consequences she had built with her own hands. That was the truth buried underneath her desperation. And with that clarity, something shifted in me. I went from the hurt boy she once cut down to a man holding the reins. This wasn't about kindness anymore. This was about seeing through her. And finally about standing tall. She kept trying, sending little messages, promises dressed up as sincerity. "I'll pay you back. You're the only one I can trust." Even worse, she tried to coat each message with a sweetness I knew wasn't real. But I didn't just rely on her words. I remembered her actions, the dismissive wave of her hand, the coldness when she shut me down, the way she made me feel like I was nothing. Every piece of evidence, whether spoken or unspoken, stacked higher inside me. And with every new plea, I felt less conflicted. I was building a case, not of her debts, but of her hypocrisy. This wasn't a request for help. It was manipulation, dressed up in desperation. And soon, I'd give her an answer she would never forget. The moment came on a quiet afternoon when she finally approached me face to face. There was no trace of the woman who once dismissed me so cruelly. She looked smaller now, her voice shaky, hands trembling. "I just need a little help," she whispered, eyes darting away then back to mine. She tried to smile, tried to conjure some connection between us that had never been there. Her words poured out like water from a broken dam. Excuses, promises, even a cracked attempt at sympathy. I listened. I let her speak, let the performance run its course. Her every sentence only solidified the decision I'd already made. And then when the silence fell heavy, I leaned closer. Calm. Steady. Final. "Don't talk to me." The look on her face, the shock, the humiliation. It was the inverted mirror of our first encounter. But this time, I wasn't the one shrinking. I wasn't the one bleeding. It was her turn to feel the sting. Word spread. Maybe she told others, maybe they pieced it together themselves. Either way, her reputation crumbled. People started noticing her patterns, how she used and discarded, how she manipulated those she thought were weaker. And suddenly, doors began closing in her face. As for me, I didn't feel cruel. I felt whole, restored. The power she once held over me was gone. In its place stood the dignity I had claimed back. She was small now, not because I made her so, but because she had shrunk herself through her own choices. Revenge doesn't always demand fire or fury. Sometimes it's quieter than that. Sometimes it arrives like an echo. The same words thrown back across time, taking on new weight. When she said, "Don't talk to me," she meant to crush me. But when I said it back, it wasn't to destroy her. It was to free myself. There's a kind of satisfaction in letting karma write the ending for you. And for me, using her words, her weapon, as my shield was justice enough. Because sometimes the most powerful answer is silence.